Previously on the Celtic Files.
What in the name of all that's holy happened here?
This place is completely trashed.
It's like a bomb went off.
And no sign of Celtic.
I think I found the last video that Celtic was working on.
I don't like the sound of that. Jesus Christ, what the fuck do you want?
Did you see that?
I don't believe it. Were those Russian voices?
You bet your ass they were.
We need to find him.
So this guy is good with computers, and I asked him to look into this IP address thing to find out from where the access was made.
Yo, Mike, my man, how's it going, man? I mean, if you want the information, you'll have to pay up, buddy.
What the hell, man? That's no way to treat a friend. James, you and Melvin need to get to the airport. I found him. I know where Celtic is.
And now the conclusion.
Hey guys, over here.
Oh, there you are.
You took your sweet time.
We came here as fast as we could.
So Mike, if you would be so kind and explain to us where Celtic is.
We have to get to the Florida Keys. According to what I know, Celtic is on Key West.
Key West?
That's right.
Then I suggest we get going.
Couldn't agree with you more. Let's go. Come on guys, hurry up.
James can't go any faster.
I am doing my best.
Hang on guys, let me see what I can see. Oh hello ladies.
Can you see anything?
No, not yet. Hey, wait a minute. That can't be. What the actual fuck?
Why, what is it?
Over there, that's Celtic.
Really? And he's just sitting there?
It certainly looks that way.
That punk will have a lot of explaining to do. Come on, let's move.
Oh damn. Baby, there is a problem.
Why, what is it?
There are these three guys. You just stay put and let me handle this. Hello my friends. It's so good to see you.
Celtic, what the hell are you doing here?
We have been looking all over for you, and you are sitting here having a drink?
Wait, let me explain.
Do you have any idea what we have been through to find you?
Find me? What do you mean? Where are you looking for me?
Of course we were looking for you.
Why?
Damn it, you know full well why. You made it look like some Russians fucking kidnapped you.
Oh. That.
Oh, that?
That was just a joke. You surely didn't take that seriously.
Oh, and why not?
Yes, why the hell not?
But come on guys. That was so obviously faked. The special effects were so bad, and you actually believed that. LOL.
What? Why would you do that?
Consider it paid back for all the trolling you have done on my channel.
I don't believe it. And we even made some videos for his channel.
Yeah, that was funny. Nice job by the way. LOL.
Oh, I am so going to mess you up. You are going down, bitch.
Whoa. Easy there.
He had that one coming.
Welcome back to World of Tanks. Today we are going to take a brief look at patch 9.10, which sees the introduction of the Japanese heavy tank line, and some updates to the Red Shire map. However, before we begin, I want to show you our new studio. So let's take a look. First off, here behind my desk we have some nice posters. Right next to it is our gaming PC. Then we have the barrel, with some fire in it. Actually, I am not sure what the point is to that, but forget all that. Because we have something much better. We have tanks. That's right, folks. Take a look at these beauties. Here we have the mouse, then the fantastic KV-2. There is also a KV-220, and last but not least, the infamous Tiger. There is an exit door in this corner. And we have another of these steel drums. Don't ask me why. Here we have some more posters. And it looks like there are 3 members of the cleaning crew.
That's hilarious.
Just kidding. Well, it wouldn't be World of Tanks without my good friends James, Mike and Melvin.
Good friends?
Now we are as good friends again?
Interesting, isn't it? After all you have done, you act as if nothing happened?
Huh? What's happening?
Whoa. You guys. Are you alright?
Christ. What the fuck was that? That was some weird trip.
That's right. I haven't been feeling like myself lately. But it is much better now.
You look so silly. LOL. What? Oh no.
Lol, look at that.
Welcome back, Celtic. Glad you could join us, even though you look pathetic.
Well, you won't win a beauty contest either. But enough of that. We are here to talk about patch 9.10. We are beginning with the updated map Red Shire. Wargaming has made some changes, and I am going to show you just exactly what they did. Red Shire last received an overhaul in patch 8.11. That was in early 2014, I believe. Now the map has undergone some more cosmetic surgery. We are at the beginning of the southern spawn point in standard battle mode. When we compare this area with the previous map, we can see right away that the new map has reduced the elevation of the area. More importantly, the right side used to be elevated, whereas now it is completely flat. The direct impact on the gameplay will become clear in a moment. Most of you will surely have noticed that the path of the river has changed. It used to be towards the center of the map. You can also see the elevation change I spoke about. Before, it was possible to defend from this position quite well, as indicated by the arrow. Now though, this won't be not as easy anymore. That reduced elevation will be quite visible once we get in a little closer. I think this change is designed to reduce the effectiveness of this position, especially for camping TDs who could really decimate advancing enemies on the western flank. And I can show you another example for this. Wargaming has made another very small change, which was not done by accident, I can promise you that. They have changed the location of this bush, which used to provide concealment. As I said before, the enemy attacking on the western flank should benefit from the change. And speaking of the western flank, this is also an area that was updated, and quite significantly so.
That doesn't look so different to me.
Well, then you just wait. It'll become clear in a moment. I think you can see it already, can't you? Wargaming has modified this area quite a bit. It is wider than before, the location of the rock has changed, and an alternate path was created around it. And when I say the location of the rock, I should say that it is no longer just a rock, but the terrain was elevated, and a little hill was added. In the next shots we can see this very well, I think. For starters, there are now two attack routes, one to the left and one to the right of the hill. This change undoubtedly will make flanking in this area a much more viable option, and should speed up the gameplay. Second, the Wargaming developers have raised this section of the map. And good thing too, since this provides cover for those tanks who decide to flank around the hill in the foreground. Previously the hill was further to the right, and flanking tanks were in danger of getting shot from the hill at the opposite side. In the new version of the map, this threat has been all but eliminated. All in all, these changes here should, like I said, accelerate the gameplay, and I also think that medium tanks will find this area now more appealing.
Oh, the new map is better for medium tanks? What a shocker.
I know, right?
Well, we have seen this trend now for quite some time. I think Wargaming looks for areas in maps that slow down the gameplay, and they systematically modify them. This isn't anything new.
Well, as World of Tanks' focus is now more on fast-paced action, this is part of the strategy. And tell me what you will, these changes are really quite effective. They know exactly what they are doing. Let's continue our fly around the new map. We are now approaching the northern spawn point, and as we can see, there does not seem to be a change, or at least not something that stands out.
I think you are right. That looks pretty much the same as before.
Same here. This is the northern cap. No changes that I can see.
Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Moving on to the northwestern corner of the map. And at first glance this too looks exactly like before. But I think if we look closely enough, we can see that the elevation was changed ever so slightly in this area. But now we are approaching the western flank of Red Shire, and this is the area that has seen the biggest change of them all.
Oh, I can see it. There is now what looks to be a castle and some walls.
Or some ruins or something.
Indeed, this entire section is completely new. What used to be a road that was protected by some elevated terrain on the side is now a plateau, not completely unlike the hill in Himmelsdorf. There are walls to the side, which provide protection against shots from the center hill. There is also a new trench that runs along the outside, with a small bridge allowing passage from the castle to the center of the map. James, you have been awfully quiet. What do you think about this change? James?
Hey, wake up, man.
What?
Lol, he actually dozed off.
Oh. What is it you want?
What do you think about this change to the map?
Well, I like castles. I live in one myself. Though I prefer them to be a little bit, shall we say, less broken?
So Celtic, there you have it. James thinks this is a bad update to the map, because this castle is in ruins. I am so glad we all could benefit from his expert opinion.
Well, truth be told, I am not sure what to make of this change. It looks cool, I think, but what impact it has on how the map is played, I have no idea. I just haven't played enough games recently.
And we all know why. You preferred to slack off instead of getting some games in. You haven't been doing shit on your YouTube channel, and to think that we actually came looking for you, that still makes my blood boil.
Oh, don't I know that? You fucking punched me.
And right in the face. Boy, that felt good.
Come now, settle down, boys.
Okay, fine. Let's finish this map review. So we are in the center of the map, and we can see that nothing probably changed, blah blah blah. Now we are swinging the camera around to the southern spawn point, and we can see that the location of the river was changed. But honestly, unless you are an angler, I don't see why you would give a shit.
That was nice, and so informative. Well done, Mike. So that was the new Red Shire. But now we are looking at the new tree of Japanese vehicles. Wargaming has added an entire line of Japanese heavy tanks to the game, and we are going to check out some of them in greater detail. But before we begin, why don't you guys talk about the historical significance of these new tanks?
Well, I don't know.
I got nothing. I didn't even know the Japanese had heavy tanks in World War II.
James?
Well, as far as the Japanese heavies from tier 5 all the way up to tier 10 are concerned, simply put, Mike is right. None of these really existed. They are based on the OI project, which was initiated after the battles of Kork and Gol against the Soviet Union in 1939. After the Japanese 6th Army had suffered a terrible defeat in those battles, it was decided that much stronger tanks with much better armor and better guns were needed.
But
the Japanese never built any of these. They didn't really advance past the blueprint stage, aside from one prototype of the OI, which is rumored to have been completed in the last year of the war. And that's only one of the 5 Japanese heavies that Wargaming has spread across tier 5 to tier 10.
That's right. Wargaming indeed needed a lot of imagination to create these, and as such you may consider them fantasy tanks that are at least somewhat based on a real-world idea. As for the OI experimental at tier 5, and the OI at tier 6, they seem to be based on the prototypes 100T and 120T respectively. So we shall begin our little overview with the OI experimental at tier 5. And ironically, we begin by looking at the German VK3001H and the Russian KV-1, which are also heavy tanks at tier 5. Now look at the OI experimental.
Oh my god.
Are you kidding me?
The OI experimental is a mountain of a tank. To call it massive does not even begin to describe it. It makes the KV-1 look tiny. This thing weighs at over 100 tons when fully upgraded. Nothing at this tier even comes close.
At over 100 tons, there are but a handful of tanks in the entire game that are heavier than this. And it is only a tier 5.
The tanks that follow are even heavier, if you can believe that. But you know what is even better? This tank has a 1,200 horsepower engine and can get up to 40 kph, and believe me when I tell you that it easily reaches that speed. It has 75mm armor at the front, 70 at the sides and the rear, and the turret is 75mm all around. To see how effective the armor is on this beast, we ran a few tests. So here we have the OI experimental, and my good friend Eddie is driving the Wolverine. The Wolverine is a tier 5 TD for the Americans, and it is equipped with a 76mm cannon. That cannon is good for about 128mm of penetration with standard AP rounds. We are here to find out how good the armor of the OI is. It may weigh 100 tons, but its thickest armor is a mere 75mm, so we'll just have to see how well the armor holds up against a tier 5 TD. We are going to try to angle our armor, because head-on, the 75mm won't be enough. So let's get started. Eddie is going for the small turrets first. That was a hit. These have 75 millimeters of armor, and when angled like that, you are looking at a maximum of 100 millimeters of effective thickness. Bounce on the upper plate. At this angle, it seems to be too much for the Wolverine. And another bounce. So the OI's upper plate can be effective, provided you angle it properly. The next shot is going against the flag part of the armor, above the upper plate. This is 75 millimeters as well.
Oopsie.
That one went in. Those 75 millimeters are just not enough, angled or not.
Well, we'll just have to see. We are now changing the angle a little bit, and that should increase the chance to bounce. At least that's our hope.
Well, I don't think that's going to work.
That one grazed the top of the upper plate and bounced. And that one went in. Let's try that again. From the looks of it, that part of the armor, even if at an angle, doesn't protect you against a Wolverine. And keep in mind guys, there are Tier 5 TDs with much higher penetration than the Wolverine. But the side armor at this angle is pretty much a guaranteed bounce. Let's wrap this up with a turret. 75 millimeters, angled backwards. But I don't think it's going to be enough.
That makes 2 of us.
That went in. And not a big surprise. Let's hit the other side now.
Boy, this armor bounces shit. The only thing worse a damn is the upper plate.
All that mass, and all that weight, and it's really not going to protect you very much, is it? But at least you are a huge target, and artillery will make you a priority, and quite happily so.
To be fair, it's not the worst of the Tier 5 heavies, but it's nothing to shout about either. You are going to have to angle your armor, and then against lower tier tanks, your armor should be holding up pretty okay I think. Right, let's talk briefly about the gun. As I see it, you will have 2 choices. First there is the 12 cm barrel gun. It's a howitzer that promises to be tons of fun. While the 105 mm on the M4 Sherman really has been broken by wargaming, the penetration of the Japanese 12 cm is quite a bit higher, especially when firing heat. The heat penetration is 140 mm. That's just about 40 more than similar howitzer guns of this tier, and you know what? That is nearly the same penetration you got from the 105 mm in the M4 Sherman before it got rebalanced in patch 8.6.
Oh, this is going to be epic fun. Get ready to open your wallets, guys, because the derp is back in town. Oh, I am pumped.
Well, at least until wargaming changes the penetration, which of course they will. Probably sooner rather than later.
Oh, I think there is no doubt about that. If that Japanese 12 cm performs similarly to the 105 before the nerf, there is no way it's going to stay in the game in its current form for long. But let's check out the other weapon choice. It is a 10 cm cannon with 130 mm of penetration, or 150 mm with the premium shells. And we can see that the penetration is slightly above average, so really not too bad. It'll get the job done. And here's how it stacks up when we look at the alpha damage. The OI wins this easily. 300 alpha damage at tier 5, and there are going to be a lot of enemies that will run scared. And with over 1800 DPM, the OI belongs among the best of its tier. As for the other properties, such as aim time and accuracy, don't expect too much. Think Russian cannons, but slightly better. Also noteworthy are the 10 degrees depression of the gun, which is quite an excellent value. But while this is all well and good, I want to come back to the top speed of this tank. It weighs 100 tons, and it reaches 40 kph. And let me show you exactly what this allows you to do. Here we have the OI at top speed, and it is indeed 40 kph. The OI is heading straight for the Wolverine, which is on full health. And watch what happens next.
Wow, are you serious?
Well, turns out that the giant mass of the OI does come in handy on occasion.
No shit. That was really epic. But Celtic, your video was just boring. I knew you would be playing this clip in this video, so I figured that I'll spice it up a bit. Guys, prepare to be amazed. Here we go.
Oh god, no.
So was that epic or what?
Well,
Well,
okay, moving on. After the OI experimental tier 5 awaits you the OI. And let me ask you something, guys. If you look at the Russian KV-2 with the 152mm derp, if there was one thing you could change, what would you improve?
Well, the armor, of course.
The accuracy.
higher alpha damage.
Huh?
Mike, you can't be serious.
Why not? You can never have too much damage. I always say, speak softly, and carry a big stick.
I thought I'd never see the day where you would quote Theodore Roosevelt, but here we are.
Who is Theodore Roosevelt?
Oh god. Melvin, you lazy slacker, know nothing about history.
What else is new? Anyways, sorry Mike, the OI has just as much alpha damage as the KV-2. Most people would call that enough though. But enough of that, let's take a look at the tech. So here we have the tier 5, and check out the OI in comparison. It is even larger. And a lot heavier. It weighs a shocking 150 tons. And compared to the OI experimental, its armor is twice as thick, except for the sides.
And it's fucking ugly too. It's so damn ugly, it makes blind kids cry.
Pardon his French, but Mike does have a point.
It is really shockingly ugly, but it can equip a super heavy small liner. How do you like them apples? I'd also recommend a large caliber tank gun rammer, and perhaps improved ventilation. Some of you may want to use the enhanced gun lane drive instead of the vents. Me personally, I prefer the added 5% bonus to all crew skills. When you are using the 150mm howitzer, you'll want to shoot HE shells, pretty much exclusively. Just like in the KV-2. But unlike the KV-2, this thing can shoot heat, and that gives you 150mm of penetration, which is much more than you get with the KV-2 and its premium AP shells. Speaking of the KV-2, let's take a look and check how it stacks up against the new Japanese tech. We are using the fantastic website TaxGG, which provides all the tools we need. As always, the color red means it's bad. So whenever you see red, it means the KV-2 is better.
I am seeing a lot of green.
I see you have been paying attention. And right you are. Anyways, the KV-2 provides better DPM due to its slightly faster reload. The KV-2 also has better penetration by 11mm. It's not shown in the recording, but the KV-2 features 86mm of penetration with its HE shells, compared to 75mm of the OI. The OI has a faster shell velocity, which helps when engaging targets at range. It carries nearly twice as many shells, allowing you to pack quite a few heat shells, without sacrificing your HE loadout. The OI aims faster, and it is slightly more accurate. Its gun dispersion is generally better than the KV-2's. That means that after you move the tank, the aiming circle won't be quite as large, which directly improves the aim time. The OI also has better gun elevation and depression. All in all, I would say that despite the slightly longer reload time, the 150mm of the OI is the better cannon. But of course, there are some disadvantages too. The KV-2 is the more mobile of the two tanks. It has a higher top speed, and a much better power-to-weight ratio. So it's not only faster, it also accelerates much more quickly. It definitely beats the OI in this category. But fortunately for the OI, its terrain resistance values are better than the KV-2's, so at least it isn't getting punished for its enormous weight. But much more importantly, the OI can move its turret much faster than a KV-2. And not just the turret, but the tracks as well. Next, the armor, and that is where the OI really shines. Compared to the KV-2, it has twice as much armor in the front, the rear, and the turret. Where the KV-2 features 75mm, the OI has an impressive 150mm. The OI has more hit points, and modules such as the engine, tracks, or ammo rack have more health, which should make them harder to damage.
So what you are saying is that the OI essentially is a KV-2, that is slower, but has a slightly better gun, and a lot better survivability.
It's a KV-2 with double the armor. I think this is going to be super epic, bros.
Well, we'll just have to see how good the armor really is. But before we do that, there is even more good news. One of the other major disadvantages of the KV-2 has always been its view range. The OI on the other hand is actually decent. It has a 40 meters longer view range than the KV-2. Anyways, I think it is time that we put the armor to the test. First, we shoot at it with a tier 5 Stug, and later with a tier 8 Rantel Borsig. But before we begin, let's take a very brief look at the armor. The bottom of the lower glacis is 75 millimeters. Both lower and upper plate are 150 millimeters. All of these surfaces are nicely sloped, and their effective thickness is anywhere from 210 to more than 300 millimeters. The flat part of the frontal armor, as well as the two large turrets, are also 150 millimeters. And speaking of turrets, the main turret has 150 millimeters armor all around. Note that the turret is shaped like a hexagon, so your best bet is to keep the gun pointed straight at the opponent at all times. Doing so increases the effective armor thickness to roughly 175 millimeters. In the first round we will have the Stug taking shots, equipped with the Il-70 cannon.
Why don't you use the Stug 4?
Because it sucks. That stupid reward tank for these fucking missions.
No, really. Tell us how you really feel.
Oh, you count on it.
Fine. Let's begin with the lower glaciers.
I don't think any of these shots go in.
Indeed, all of these were bounces. The frontal armor holds up well against 150 millimeters of penetration. However, when angled like this, the side armor can be easily overmatched and pinned. And again, once you decrease the angle of attack, the shells no longer overmatch the armor and bounce off harmlessly.
But wait a minute. Now that you changed the angle, isn't the front vulnerable?
I say no. The 150 millimeters pen still ain't good enough.
I think Mike is right.
Here we go, a bounce. And another one.
Quite predictably, the 150 millimeters of pen isn't good enough. But what happens when we shoot at the turret?
Nothing, just another bounce.
Oh?
Yes, that went in, and let me show you why. The reason is the shape of the small turret. If the armor is angled, there is a part that faces the opponent head-on. That removes the bonus you get from the angling, and a 150 millimeter shell has a good chance of penetrating. Or it still bounces off, as we just saw. Next we are shooting at the turret. That's 150 millimeters of armor, angled backwards. That angling is enough to safely bounce the 150 millimeter shell. But when we turn our turret to the side, then the armor becomes flat. That resulted in a bounce. Let's try again. And this one went in. So you always want to point the cannon right at your enemy. That increases the effective armor thickness by roughly 25 millimeters. But that was just a Tier 5 TD. The OI also faces Tier 8 tanks, and we are now going to see what the OI can do against the Rheinmetall Borsig. That sneaky German TD has a lovely 128mm cannon, good for 246mm of penetration. The OI can only hope to bounce off the upper and lower glaciers.
Bounce.
And we are off to a good start. That's 2 bounces already.
Make that 3. But now the lower plate.
Oh, why did that one go in? I thought the armor was the same, and it looks like the sloping is the same too.
Well, Melvin, it isn't exactly the same. Here, I'll show you. As you can see, the effective armor of the upper plate is well over 280mm if it is angled like that. However, the lower plate isn't quite as angled, and the effective thickness is around 250mm. That's in range of what the Borsig can do. The lowest part is again sloped very well, and the Borsig won't have a chance of penning the shots. And here are 2 more examples. After 2 more bounces, the Borsig aims a little higher. And it pens, leaving the OI on a fraction of his health. So it has very strong armor, if this is top tier. But in a Tier 8 match, the armor won't protect you nearly as much. In summary, the OI is the Japanese KV-2 that trades mobility for armor. And since it has more hit points, much better depression of the gun, and a turret that's very strong for Tier 6, it might just be better than the KV-2.
It's fucking OP is what it is.
Well, maybe. But it has a 20-second reload, so it struggles with putting out consistent damage. But I suspect it will be quite a beast in a Tier 6 game.
But what if you shoot the 105mm cannon instead of the howitzer? How can the OI perform when it is not shooting that monster derp cannon? Let's take a look and find out. Here we have ICV and his OI playing in Lakeville. It is a good matchup for the Japanese heavy. Its armor should prove very strong. But is it really going to hold up as well as the numbers might suggest? And how does the 105mm cannon perform? That cannon can shoot nearly twice as fast as the howitzer while providing 300 average damage. Its penetration is rated 175mm, which is the same that the Russians get, but they only get that at tier 7. To the replay. ICV is not alone. He has company. There is an M3 Lee with him.
Thank God for that. It's always good to have strong support.
Mike, excuse me, but is this a joke?
Obviously.
The poor Lee, he got one-shotted by an enemy OI experimental.
That's the 300 alpha damage cannon for you guys. ICV has spotted an enemy T-32. Clean kill, but now he has to deal with the OI experimental. He already bounced a shot. Now he is going for the lower plate. And it goes in without problems. ICV is keeping up the pressure. His team is 3 tanks down, and an aggressive play against lower tier tanks is the right call. Another bounce, and now it's going to hurt again.
Whoa, did the enemy flat panzer just hit his own teammate?
Lol.
It certainly looks that way.
That poor schmuck. Oh, here he comes.
I think he is angry now.
Moo ha ha ha.
Lol. What a great shot, and now look at him, he has parked right in front of Godzilla.
Oh my god, that is so bad.
Drunk tanks.
Indeed.
Oh, more danger. Look at that little Hetzer. What is he trying to accomplish?
You mean besides dying?
Whoa. James, did you just make a joke?
It's been known to happen.
Really? Well anyways, ICV continues his onslaught. Good hit there against the A-43, but the Allied team isn't doing so well. They are 4 tanks down, and the opponent has completely won the Western Valley. But ICV continues to dish out the punishment. He'll have to carry this game hard if he wants to win it. The VK in the center is worse than useless. He'll have 0 damage to show for when all is said and done. And his teammate in the KV-85 isn't the brightest light in the sky, but at least he is contributing. Now the allies are splitting up, going after the A-43. The sooner this fast medium is removed from the fight, the better. ICV picks up what is his 5th kill, and now the allies are trailing 6 tanks to 2. Now he is up against his German counterpart. The VK promptly bounces, and ICV gets him with a nice damage roll. Then disaster. The enemy T-25 is shooting at PCR shells into the rear of the OI. And now there is an AMX-40. He fires, but the space armor on the side absorbs the damage. ICV takes the kill. He can now deal with the T-25. Who just got a bounce of an APCR shell. That poor guy. ICV spots the VK behind him. Great play here, he quickly angled the armor, and the VK shell bounced off. And just in time, the T-25 is there to receive another great damage roll.
Oh, the German medium is so bad, please take him out of his misery.
I think ICV would like nothing better than that. And he gets the kill.
And the VK bounces again. I just can't believe how bad that German heavy is. I mean, look at it. The VK has no chance at all to penetrate the front of the OI, but the OI slices through his angled armor like butter.
I know what you mean. He's getting absolutely pounded, and there's very little the enemies can do. At least the Shito finally scores some damaging hits. Oh, never mind that. ICV takes him out, and with that, he finally has the upper hand. That VK3601H is just a shadow of its former self, in its days of glory when it was still a medium. Now compare this German Tier 6 heavy to the new Japanese, and then tell me that something isn't a bit off here.
Really, there isn't a comparison.
Well, I am sure that ICV won't complain. He is about to get his 10th kill. We all know that the French TD has no chance at all against the Japanese behemoth. There, it is done. But ICV did actually get damaged, right before he killed the Frenchie. It was the machine gun turret. Not properly angled, and the 165mm penetration of the 105mm cannon on the TD was sufficient. Let's take a brief look at the post-game battle results. ICV played an absolute blinder of a game. He was in a top-tier tank to be sure, and a strong one at that, but he played flawlessly. He was getting pounded pretty hard, but he angled the armor well, and finished the battle with 30% of his hit points left. With nearly 4.4k damage done, and 10 kills, standing 1 against 4 in the end, he completely carried his team, and utterly dominated the game. ICV earned a plethora of medals, among them the prestigious Pools medal and, of course, a steel wall as well. But let's see how well the armor really worked. Pretty well, I think. Hits received, 26. Penetrations, 5. Damage blocked by armor, 4,150. So absolutely awesome game there, by ICV. He really showed us two things. First, one top tier, the armor of the OI is incredibly effective. And second, the 105mm cannon is a great alternative to the 150mm howitzer. So really, if you think about it, with the OI, you get two tanks in one. Number 1, it's the Japanese KV-21 using the howitzer, and number 2, it is the Japanese KV-1S, before it was split into two tanks. And that makes the OI completely overpowered.
Damn straight.
But you know full well that the tank won't stay like this for long in the game. It's obvious what's happened here. A new line of tanks has been added to the game, and if there are not a few fantastic tanks among them, then people are not interested in playing them, and then fewer people are going to play the game. In my opinion, the OI is the way it is, purely for business reasons. Don't you agree?
I can see the merit in that argument. So as we are approaching the end of the show, let's briefly summarize the vehicles. The OI Experimental is a very strong tier 5 heavy tank. If top tier, it has the ability to completely own the game, with its fantastic cannon and decent armor. However, its armor is just that. Decent. Your armor won't protect you against tanks with higher penetration, for example, from TDs, even if they are of the same tier. However, we do consider the OI, at tier 6 in its current state, at least slightly overpowered. Too strong is the armor, and too good are the two choices of cannons. All in all, these two are simply great heavy tanks. I am afraid we are going to have to leave it there.
But before we go, we have received a letter from someone named Bob, from Nebraska. I believe that's from the colonies. Bob writes, I always wanted to know what happens when a Type 59 tries to ram kill the Japanese Tier 8 heavy tank, the Oho. Well, I am glad you asked, because we can answer that very question.
Don't try this at home, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.